I had to look this next stat up. The last time I introduced Chris Berman in public was 7 years ago at the Sports Broadcasting Hall of Fame in New York City when Boom was inducted. And I think Chris would agree with me and any of us who worked on the easy side of the camera that working with Barry made our jobs easier, better. We were more effective communicators, but that was only the beginning of these friendships. Let's hear from Chris.
Not gonna wear all the jerseys you did, but it is a Giants blue, all right? As far as I'm gonna go. They beat my teams too often. I'm still annoyed. Joanne and to Mom and to Jesse, thank you for sharing Barry with us. And a lot of ESPNers, but those from home, those from Quinnipiac, and those from other walks of life of Barry, we're all family. We may not have all met yet, but I look forward to meeting everybody, whether it's today or in the future, because we all have the same love for this, I'll still call him a young man. A word that I would use to describe Barry's mark would be indelible. Not a bad Scrabble word, not great, but because his mark, it's been almost a year and a half, which actually I had to remind myself today. And he's still here. I know that sounds trite or easy to say, but what we're gonna hear today and what we've already heard, well, for example, this week, okay? Just I'm thinking my week. I played not too well in the Pro-Am on Wednesday. It was only 100 friggin' degrees. Everybody knows my studio, you gotta hang meat in it, okay? So, Barry would have been there on like the 16th or 17th hole after a trudge. I would have heard, come on, Boom! You know, you've been there with Calvin, you've been there with Kahuna, who actually was there Wednesday, would have been there with, and I heard from Nate today, he says his best. He would have been there with Sport, he would have been there with Riles, who was there. But I would have heard him like trying to egg me on as if, well, hell, it was like 97 degrees. Maybe we could beat the temperature if you could just bogey out, you know? But I thought of him. I actually, because so many years, I see him right there. Last night, watching Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals. I mean, Barry would have been glued, whether he was doing the show or whether he had no horse in that race. Except he loved hockey and he loved sports. And I actually, knowing that we were coming here with friends today, that Barry would have been glued to this game. Just like the rest of us, like he would have been this coming Monday night. This Yankees season, I mean, it's only June, he would have been insufferable already. You don't run, yeah, I know, so did Mickey Mantle, I got it. But I say that with love. So early 80s, Barry, and as Bob said, and Charlie, anyone that was together then, the Juice, we were a family, we had to be, because we didn't know, I mean, by 82, 83, okay, I think so, we're gonna be okay, you know, but for those of us there in the 80s and 90s, there are people in here that may not have been in our building for 20, 25 years. It really doesn't matter. And that spirit and that togetherness, Barry was at the heart and soul of it. Trust me. Just trust me. Well, we all know that. I mean, we work together on so many things. Sports Center, baseball tonight, baseball last night, baseball tomorrow night. The games are all fixed. I haven't heard that one. That was good, actually. Well, we worked together on the earthquake. Bob, you, me, Peter Gammons, Joe Torre, a few others. But what sticks in my mind from the earthquake, I mean, the World Series earthquake in 1989, might have heard of it. You know, we couldn't fly out for 4 or 5 days. We were the least of the problem. We were looking at driving to Reno, or, you know, how are we gonna get, you know, what do we, but we just kept reporting, and we were on. It's not about what we did on TV. ABC got credit, but they were off the air, all right? Like, you know, the backstory of why we were on TV was ESPN was late to the party. Candlestick, you know, built in 1960, not the electrical. We were late. Now you can't plug in your remote truck here. We don't have enough juice, so we had to get and pay for, oh my God, a generator. Well, we were geniuses, right, Bob? I mean, I was being late to the party, we were geniuses. And the San Francisco police hooked in with us, and that's why we got an escort like 6 hours later at 11 at night into the city, which looked like London at the bombing. I mean, that was my thought. But there's a picture, and what was the ESPN, what was the uplink? Was that what it was? The Rosa, and Chris, don't take this, and Mike, don't take this the wrong way. We lovingly called it Prop Link because it was some propaganda necessary, you know. But good propaganda. This is newsroom banter, all right? But I remember the picture in the uplink, I forget who took it, but Bradley with like 8 of us, 9 of us, 7 of us, smiling, holding the newspaper. There was an earthquake, and when would we come back? Saturday? I think it was like Tuesday night, right? Like Saturday? Here we are. And I think of Barry, I still think of him. We were really grinning, but it wasn't like smile for the camera. It was like smile because it could have been something else. And I think of Barry as the hub of that group. You know, he was with us, what, 35 years at ESPN? He and so many people in the room should have been with us a lot longer, but that's another discussion another time. I know, Bob, I used to run the place, but unfortunately, that's a long time ago.
I wouldn't want to go.
Yeah, things will be better in the new building. How many times have we heard that? 20? How many buildings we got now? Yeah, there's one here on campus, I think. But so ESPN. All right, I've jotted this down today, and then I'll get out of here. By the way, I used to do 2-minute drill. There was no shot. That was only take it out of weather. We got the national map. Just go right to the local forecast. Give me another 4 minutes, will you? So E, I'm going with our initials. E, Barry, for ESPN Energy. Okay, that fair? That's a good one, right? Every day, I wish we all could be a glass half full rather than a glass half empty. If you got up on the wrong side of bed, maybe Joanne knows, I'm sure occasionally went the wrong direction first thing in the morning, but we didn't know about it if it affected him, you know? And that's a trait that I will never forget. Or another analogy, he dove into the deep end of the pool. You already heard it every day, and whatever we were doing, whether it was some midnight show on This Week in the North American Soccer League, Bob, or the Super Bowl. Like it was, everything was big and most important. And for everybody working on that show, that's being a professional, whatever job you do. The S would stand for spirit, which I think is another really good word to describe Barry Sachs. Look, it takes one to know one, but Barry was loud, all right? He was louder than me. Even though all right, we could debate it, but not today. I'm the boomer because I was loud, thanks to Chuck Pagano. That's how that nickname started, by the way. But he's never loud, I think this is important to say, he's never loud at you. He's loud with you. You know what I mean? I've just changed the preposition there. We're on a college campus, so I could use it. He was loud with you. And it wasn't like, oh, we beat the Eagles. Deshaun Jackson, okay, punt return. All right, fine. You know, but it was never, you stink, I'm good, never. I don't ever remember that. I mean, he related to everybody who he was with. He knew what buttons to push, but he didn't really push them in that way. Is that a fair thing to say too? You know, something. Sanford, I mean, the football giants. They beat the Niners and the Bills too much. But he'd always talk. Hey, Huey Lewis, Dwight Clark. He would talk. I mean, or if I came in one day, did you see the goal Guy Lafleur scored last night? Knowing that was my favorite guy, Barry would be there. I mean, and I'm sure everybody has their own story. It doesn't have to be sports. That he wanted to know that he knew you and knew what you were. P, you heard the word already, passion. I wrote that down. There was not notes there. I wrote it down. Whatever the hell I wrote it down. The old-fashioned way. I don't 20th century, man. That's how we started doing it, and that's how I'm going to finish doing it. Another word could be positivity. So ESP, we've gotten that far. He was just so positive in everything he did, and that remains a gift. And M was the hard one. So this is a little bit of a stretch, but I'll go with needed. We all needed Barry Sachs. Am I dead on with this? We all needed him and everything that I just said. If somebody was down, Barry would do his damnedest to pick us up. I know he and so many people in the room did that for me when I lost my wife 7 years ago with a car accident. He was front and center, and so many of my ESPN family were and are. So we must let him know, and let Joanne and Jesse and Mom and family know that when we're needed, even if it's a few years from now, he let us know that, okay? Because he would be, what do you need from me? 5 years later, that would be him. Juice did it, but not a great job. At the GeeMen. No, the rest are beautiful. You know, the Juice that's still with us. The good Juice. Not the guy running through the airport, all right? So look, the GeeMen was something I put on the air, as Tommy said. It was really for Barry. I mean, we have tons of Giant fans who still do, and we should. And I know this might be trite, you may not be into it, but I'm gonna give one, but then I think we all should do one together so he can freaking hear us, okay? So I'm gonna do mine first. Then if you don't mind, we're gonna do one together, because that was on air for 30 years, however, well, prime time, 87, it's still on. Look, I don't get a penny out of ESPN Plus, but you could watch it. So I'm going to give one for Barry first. GeeMen, right? Sorry, it's loud, but and if we could do one together, just so he could hear us and let us know that we are celebrating his life, although we're sad that he's not with us. But all right, Barry, 3, 2, 1. GeeMen!